Hello everyone. Welcome to the fourth and the final part of the lesson Indigo by Louis Fisher. In this part, we'll deal in detail with the theme, food for thought, and other interpretations of the chapter. Moving on. Ma'am, could you please throw some light on the theme of the chapter?
Again, in the chapter Indigo, we have two major themes. One is effective leadership, and the second one is freedom from fear. The main theme of the chapter Indigo is how effective leadership can overcome any problem, as shown by Mahatma Gandhi in securing justice for the oppressed in Champaran through convincing arguments and negotiations. Freedom from fear. Fear paralyzes the mind and incapacitates one to act in a way that pulls them out of the fear causing stimuli.
Causing stimuli is the one that causes fear in the minds of the oppressed or the person who is fearful.
Right. So, uh, since Gandhi was free from fear, he could think rationally, provide a fresh perspective, and alleviate the peasants from their misery.
Now we'll discuss why was the Champaran incident a turning point in Gandhiji's life. There are 4 points to it. Ma'am will now explain each of the 4 points.
Right. Champaran incident. This incident is indeed a turning point in Gandhi's life. The first lesson in disobedience movement. As Gandhi was arrested, scores of Champaran tenants turned up in protest outside the jail, police stations, and courts. Troubled by this unusual form of resistance that spilled no violence, the government was forced to let go of Gandhi. Gandhi here remarked, the country thus had its first direct object lesson in civil disobedience. The second point to it is the beginning of the mass movement era. Champaran movement marked the beginning of the mass movement era, as from now onwards masses were a part of national movement. Gandhi, through Champaran movement, reposed faith in common masses. Unlike Congress, which did not consider masses were yet ready for a mass movement. Emergence of a mass leader. Gandhi built on his South African experience and established his reputation as mass leader, beginning with Champaran and later Ahmedabad and Kheda movement. I think we are all familiar with all this. He found his feet among the masses and came to have a surer understanding of the strengths and the weaknesses of the masses. The last one is the first demonstration of the non-violent satyagraha. Gandhi demonstrated to the people the efficacy of his technique of satyagraha.
Ma'am, what does efficacy mean?
Efficacy, the effectiveness. People did not believe because in the first war we had believed in rebel, violence, and this he wanted to resolve in a non violent way. Hence, that is what is meant by effectiveness. The word efficacy means that.
Ma'am, as we all know that this lesson is set in 1917, in the year 1917 rather, and it's been almost 100 years since this incident has taken place. So how is it relevant in today's context?
True. Even after 100 years of the Champaran incident in Bihar, and we recently celebrated one, if you would recall that. Uh, Bihar, which was once the reigning supremacy of the Indian subcontinent, continues to wade through absolute poverty, plight, and misery. Despite churning out the highest number of engineers and civil servants on a perennial basis, Bihar fails to deploy the lowest strata of the socio-economic demographic in providing them steady means of income via development projects. Until the people were uplifted and made one with the developed society, Bihar will continue to be classified as backwards. For those are the people who have lost faith in their fields and system which they brought into power. It was the peasants then who had their lands lost. And today also we have peasants who have their lands lost. It's the migrant laborers now. It's disguised unemployment. And of course, what can be more exemplary? The evident from the mass exodus due to the COVID 19 from Anant Vihar in Delhi and Bandra, Mumbai. We have these people still out there. I hope now you understand what I meant by abstract politics and concrete politics.
Ma'am, as you mentioned in the last point, it was the peasants then and it's the migrant laborers now. Could you please elucidate on this a bit more?
See, the peasants then, they had lost their lands, their fields, where they worked upon sharecropping. See the word there. Now, again, for some reason, the peasants either have sold their lands or they don't have it with them anymore. Now, these are unskilled laborers. Where will they go? So, they have migrated to cities. Migrant laborers. They have moved on to the metros we have seen here in Anant Vihar in Delhi or in Mumbai. So, these are migrant laborers. So, the system, or what should I say, the state of the peasants still remains the same. 100 years have lapsed, but we have progressed very little.
Ma'am, so you mean to say that since the peasants or the farmers lost their lands and they had no means of livelihood, therefore they had to migrate to other states which could provide them some form of livelihood and work there as laborers in development sites and things like that. Is it right?
Yes, that's correct. Now, I'm not saying this just for the heck of saying it. Let's come to the facts. Bihar not only loses the proverbial muscle every year, but it is decapitated with brain drain more than any other state in India.
Ma'am, I have a doubt over here. What do you mean by proverbial muscle every year and brain drain? Could you please elucidate these two terms?
Proverbial muscle, as you asked me. You see, there will be a crisis of the laborers now because the laborers have either fled from these places in Mumbai and Delhi. Hence, these are the proverbial muscles which have migrated from Bihar. And the second question which you had, the ones that are educated, brain drain, they aren't here employed, they're employed somewhere else. So ultimately, what happens? The land remains just the same where it is.
Ma'am, as far as I understand, proverbial muscles are the laborers who have gone who would actually do the building work, and brain drain is the one who are educated and would be more employed with the IT and software sector. Am I correct?
Right, that's what I meant. Despite hurling out over 1.5 million engineers per academic session, Bihar is hardly able to retain even 0.1% of the engineers in development contexts. Bihar continues to bear the brunt of the developments of the other states on its expense. Change or respite won't come until this generation of Bihar's populace brings out a revolution.
Ma'am, how do you explain or what do you mean by Bihar continues to bear the brunt of the development of other states on its expense?
See, it's double edged. One is to seek education. You'll find most of the students here move out as we have dearth of good colleges. That's one. Number two, once you get educated, you do not have the employment opportunities. Again, they move out. That is what I meant by bearing the brunt of the development. So the development doesn't take place at all.
Okay. So, ma'am, what I understand out of it is to counter this problem, not only the government but also the general populace of Bihar will have to work who have gone and seeked education in other states to come back and create a startup scene as Bangalore and other cities like Hyderabad and even second tier cities like Indore have created to bring about a revolution and development for itself. Is it correct, ma'am?
True, that's the demand of the time.
Thank you, students. That will be all for this lesson. I hope you understood it. Thank you.